It really is. Everybody that does an interview or talks about the country really talks about how important that is to them and how much of a benefit it is to be able to play in front of a country. So I'm sure, you get to beat the Yankees, you kind of feel like you're beating the United States. So I'm sure that plays into it a little bit.
Back on Closer Look on this Friday, the third day of October. It is the night before Christmas, really, if you're a baseball fan.
If you're a Jays fan.
If you're a Jays fan.
I've already opened my presents.
Oh, see? Tigers get one win last night, win a series, and all of a sudden...
Nothing can make me upset.
You have not stopped smiling from the moment I saw you walk in bright and early at like 11:30.
It defies explanation why we care so much about these sports. It is honestly a great mystery of life how we can... It's literally given me like chest pains all week. Like why? Because
we've seen it.
It's so important to me, and it's just like any fan who loves their team. It doesn't really make any sense. I don't know any of the players. I've never met them. I have no idea if they're good people or not. I have no clue. But the jersey just is in your heart since you're a little kid.
I know it is. Now, a little inside baseball. We're sitting down here yesterday, after the show, and we've got the game on all the monitors. And you're like an expectant parent.
Yeah, I know.
Like you're nervous, the sweat. You won't even look at the TV. You don't want to jinx anything. You won't move anything from the. It's crazy.
It's crazy, and it's like it's been that way for 4 decades. And it doesn't make it just same as why a Leaf fan just dies every spring when they get eliminated. It just means so much to them. And I get it. It's just there's just something about, and then you see the opposite. Like I see those fans in Cleveland, and they're dying. People are crying. Their team, they should have won, they didn't, and that's sports. And we're going to find out in the next few days how the Blue Jays do.
Yes, 4:08 first pitch tomorrow at Rogers Center. Jays and Yankees, ALDS. Now, we promised Jamie Campbell, the host of Blue Jays baseball on Rogers Sportsnet, would be here today.
We did,
however. Things change.
People cancel. We've talked about this before. Things come up. Obviously, they're very busy at the Rogers Sportsnet. They're getting ready to host a game, and they don't have 10 minutes to come on and talk. They have to cancel. That it happens sometimes.
It happens.
But you know what? It's a blessing in disguise because we have a great reporter at Cambridge today named Matt Betts, who also hosts the Canadian Baseball Network's podcast.
Right.
And he's a very knowledgeable baseball guy. He and I, and you as well, talk baseball all the time.
Sure.
Not on air, but we just talk about baseball. And he does really great work, and it's a great opportunity to talk to a guy who he's not Jamie Campbell. You don't see him on the broadcasts every day, but he knows his stuff and is very passionate about what he does and what the work he does also tells stories about baseball all over the country, not just the Blue Jays, from minor baseball,
that's right,
grassroots baseball. And so it's kind of a cool project he's taken on, and it's done really well. It has quite a following, and a lot of people interested in the work that they do. So it's kind of a great consolation prize. Kind of like if the Blue Jays don't beat the Yankees, the consolation is that, well, we won the division, right? That's something they can hang that banner up. We're division champs.
Oh, man. It's going to be a long week next week.
I'm loving this. There's nothing better than October baseball. Even tuning in, I watched the end of that Yankees-Red Sox game last night.
Yeah.
And the tension's unbelievable. Yeah. And the storylines are, if I heard it right, the kid who pitched 8 scoreless innings for the Yankees grew up a huge Red Sox fan.
Isn't that ironic?
So he had to crush his childhood team at Yankee Stadium. You can't even make that stuff up. You can't make that stuff up. Imagine pitching 8 scoreless innings as a rookie at Yankee Stadium to beat the Red Sox.
All right, let's get into it with Matt Betts. All right, the Blue Jays, the countdown is on. Tomorrow afternoon, 4:08, first pitch, Jays and Yankees from Rogers Center. Matt Betts, host of the Canadian Baseball Network podcast, and one of our great reporters at Cambridge today joining us. Matt, welcome to Closer Look. Good to see you.
Yeah, anytime we can talk baseball, I'm telling you, I'm on. So,
it's good to know at least somebody wanted to do that today because we had promised all week long that Jamie Campbell from Sportsnet was going to be where you're sitting. But apparently there were some scheduling difficulties.
Yeah. I said all along I wanted to have Matt on.
I know you did.
Matt's one of our own. His podcast is great. He knows baseball way better than you do. Yeah. So he does. It's a great opportunity for someone who talks. So, Matt, how do you're obviously a fan. Do you have to balance being a fan and being the guy on the podcast talking about whether the Jays have a realistic shot here?
Yeah, you know what? It's there's no cheering in the press box, right? That's kind of what they said. So as I've covered the game more and more, you kind of that fan part of you kind of leaves a little bit. You just become more of a fan of the game. But yeah, I mean, I grew up watching the Jays, so it's always exciting when they enter October, and it's been hopefully some wins coming for them, I guess.
Now, Matt, as the season was winding down, particularly that last week and a half, when it looked like the wheels were falling off, did you think that they were actually going to fall off?
No, I thought they were going to pull it out. Having that tiebreaker was huge. I mean, obviously it came down to that, but just they played well at the right time on their last 4 games, and the Yankees didn't give them any help. But I still felt pretty confident they were going to get it done. It was fun to see Trey Savage pitch on a Saturday there, pitch well, and hopefully it goes well for them going into the postseason.
When was the last time you've seen Jays fans this excited? It's been like a decade, right? I mean, people are just jacked.
Yeah, I mean, they've been in the playoffs, but it's not the same as, winning the division and they're going to start at home here. Probably 2015, 2016 was the last time that it kind of had this real buzz around it. So it's going to be exciting. Toronto Rogers Center is going to be packed tomorrow. Yeah. It just seems like a collision course, right? Like it just seemed like this was going to be the case, back in July. They were kind of fighting it out. The Jays, swept that series over the Canada holiday there, and now here we are. We'll see who gets the upper hand this time.
I agree. I was happy to see the Yankees win last night, just because I feel like the Jays have to go through the Yankees in order to show that they're the real deal. They were basically neck and neck for the divisional season. I just want to go back to the beginning. If I recall right, I mean, we've talked a lot. I'm a huge Tigers fan. I love baseball. It's my favorite sport. I love the Tigers with all my heart and soul. Yesterday was a fantastic day watching them pull off that win against Cleveland. And if I remember, what's that, sorry?
That's why you're so happy today.
That's right. I told Scott nothing can ruin my day today. I am the happiest guy. I'm so thrilled.
It's been crazy, man.
That was an epic afternoon of baseball. But if I remember right, I was heckling Scott at the beginning of the year because all the pundits were saying the Jays might be the worst team in baseball history ever. Like everyone said they were going to be awful, didn't they?
Yeah. I mean, no one expected this. I can say that much. No. You look at, but the whole AL East, really, people were really high on Boston there. And then they had all that stuff with the Rafael Devers situation. Yes. Baltimore plummeted. The Rays are the Rays. But yeah, definitely no one, I don't think many people picked the Jays, if any, to win the division. And yet here we are.
Vladdy made a comment in a media scrum yesterday that he said he hoped the team made it to the next series and got this one done against New York so that Bichette would have a chance, which would lead one to believe that Bo isn't quite where he needs to be. Are you hearing anything from your end, Matt?
Yeah, that's pretty much all that I've heard. I don't think the roster hasn't been released yet as of us recording this, but I don't expect Bo to be on there. I think the ALCS might even, just kind of the way people are talking, he hasn't even started really running yet. Yeah. The ALCS would be positive if they get that far.
What is it about this team, Matt, that made them able to go against the grain of what everyone was saying about them? Is it just that certain guys are having just their career seasons? What is it about this group?
I don't even think it's that. I think they're getting contributions 1 through 9, 1 through 12, 1 through 13 in the lineup. The pitching's been the starting pitching's veteran. It's a lot of experience there. The bullpen's been up and down, but I really think it is John Schneider's done a lot of good things, pulling the right strings and just getting they're playing as a team, which, you look at the Yankees, getting ready to face the Yankees, they have Judge and Stanton and Bellinger in the middle of their lineup. But the Jays really have been a really balanced, deep team all year long, and it's paid off.
And it's funny that you mentioned John Schneider, Matt, because back in, mid to late May, when they weren't doing so well, pundits were calling for Schneider's head on a platter, and now they're talking about Coach of the Year.
Yeah, I think he probably does win the Coach of the Year. I mean, Stephen Vogt maybe in Cleveland might have coming back on First Coast Tigers there, might have a case. But yeah, there's so much recency bias in sports, right? That's kind of the fans thing, is what's happening right now, and we'll kind of overreact as necessary. But yeah, Schneider, I think, has done a really good job of pulling the right strings, and it led to where they are now. And there's so much talk on the postseason, and everything's under a microscope, but they really just need to do what they've done to this point, and get contributions. And, they run the bases pretty well, doing the little things. So they say, to kind of find things.
We keep talking about the past, but there was a time too where the management group was really under the radar too, Shapiro, and that there was a lot of, I want to use the word hate for that group. There was not, especially after the way Alex Anthopoulos left the team, and there were a few years though after that where people were not happy with what's going on. Is that all forgiven and forgotten?
I think so. I mean, if they get swept here, maybe not, but winning cures all, right? I mean, you see, no one talks about Atkins or Shapiro anymore because the team's winning. And whether they pull, you look at their offseason moves, they haven't really panned out that well. Santander has been hurt. Scherzer struggled, down the stretch in September. Andres Jimenez is not hitting very well. Yet they're still here. So I wouldn't even say necessarily that their offseason moves are really even paying off. But again, they win and no one wants to talk about Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro, and that's the case.
That's a great point. Can I ask you, is there any element of the Canada versus U.S. Situation going on with this season's Blue Jays too? There's always a national pride with the Blue Jays. They obviously have fans coast to coast. Yep. Everyone from Saskatchewan loves them all the way to Newfoundland. Is there some of that though playing into that they want the Canadian team to win a little more this year?
I don't know. That's a really good question. But the one
Thank
thing
you, Matt. I appreciate that. I try to ask good questions. Thank you.
Even a blind squirrel gets a nut, Matt.
Yeah, exactly. Probably a little bit. I think, especially when you're playing the Yankees. But one thing that I've really noticed, everyone that I've talked to, whether it's players or people within the organization, playing for a country really is a thing. I mean, sometimes it gets played off as a narrative. It's like, oh, of course, because it's the only major league team. But it really is. Everybody that does an interview or talks about the country really talks about how important that is to them and how much of a benefit it is to be able to play in front of a country. So I'm sure, you get to beat the Yankees, you kind of feel like you're beating the United States. So I'm sure that plays into it a little bit.
And that pressure must be so much more immense, right? It's one thing to be the focal point of a city, but when you're the focal point of an entire country, I can't imagine.
Yeah. I mean, again, going back to that recency bias, all is good right now because they ended up winning the division. But look back to last year, media, people, fans were all over this team for the way they were performing because there's an expectation now. And that kind of goes back to 2015, 2016, that Jose Bautista era that kind of reignited that passion for the game in this country. And yeah, everything's going well right now. So I encourage fans to just ride that as long as possible.
Yeah. I have to say, from afar, I haven't been to the Rogers Center in a few years, but I've obviously watched it on TV. The place has been renovated top to bottom, right? Yeah. And it feels like the vibe there, because all the years when I was younger, I used to go all the time to see the Jays. It's a totally different ballpark now. How much has that played into just? It looks like a nightclub at Rogers Center.
Beautiful.
Well, that's the thing. They're able to kind of target, not hardcore baseball fans. There's still something to kind of go to the ballpark for. And yeah, it's funny. I saw clips of, I don't know when it was, probably the mid 2000s, not too long ago. Say this ballpark's kind of a dump, but now it's Now it's up there with a lot of stadiums in the big leagues. So it's created kind of a party atmosphere, which is good because the playoffs are going to be crazy. And when that place gets going, I was there for the World Baseball Classic in 2009. And when that place gets going, and then it feels like the building's shaking. So I'm looking forward to it.
I was at the World Baseball Classic in 2009. That's what the American team, the Canadian team, right? You probably heard me heckling, Matt. There was nobody there. We went to the game with, I think it was Venezuela versus the States, and there was nobody there. Like, really? I could yell at the player. My buddy was telling me to be quiet. Like there were like 7 people there. So that's how much it's changed.
Yeah, absolutely. The Canada-U.S. game was rocking. I did that one.
No, I didn't see the Canada. Maybe that's why no one was there.
The Canada-U.S. game. But go ahead.
Just back to the renovations. They've done a marvelous job with what they call the outfield district. You can get a standing ticket for only $20, but with a great view of the field if you get there early enough. So it's a great deal, especially if you have kids, large family, whatever. Now, granted, you're still going to pay $15 for a beer. Yeah. But yeah, for $20, you get a great view.
Pretty good. Yeah. What are they going? What are tickets going for now, Matt?
Oh, I haven't even looked. I'm not going. I'm going to be sitting on my couch watching on my big screens. I haven't even looked. But,
beer's cheaper there.
Yeah. I'm sure $20 you probably won't get you in tomorrow, but during the regular.
Okay, so we have 4 series that kick off tomorrow, Matt. Before we let you go, maybe we should run through them and get some predictions. You want?
Yeah, let's stick with this series before we move on to that. Sure. Yeah. Let's start with that one. What's the key? What are the keys for the Jays or the Yankees to pull out this victory?
Yeah, I think for the Jays, like I said, it's getting contributions throughout the lineup, which kind of concerns me a little bit because that's a little bit harder to do in October. It's a little bit harder to string hits together, do that sort of thing. When you're facing a team with Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton that can kind of flip the game on its head with one swing, the Jays don't really have that. Vladdy's been struggling. I think his last home run was September 5th.
That's shocking.
Jays fans have kind of been hoping that Vladdy's going to do what Judge is doing for the Yankees, and I don't see it happening. But if they can get contribute, just the guys doing what they've done all year, the bullpen, they're going to probably, my guess is they're going to have 3 lefties in the bullpen. The Yankees have a very left-handed heavy lineup. Mm-hmm. The starting pitching is pretty even. I would say I think Gosman's going to be the game 1 starter. Whether they go to Savage or Bieber in game 2 is kind of up for debate still. For the Yankees, I mean, anytime you have Aaron Judge, there's an expectation. I think the Yankees expectation. So, I think it's going to be pretty even. If I had to make a prediction, I made the prediction this morning. I think Yankees in 5.
Oh, whoa! You're gonna get a lot of boos after you say that. I'm fine with that prediction, man. That works for me.
Told you we should have stuck with Campbell.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. I want to see the Tigers and the Jays, but I think this is probably as close to a coin flip as you can get.
Really, I agree with that. And I wonder how much the long wait is going to impact the Jays, whether it's an advantage or a disadvantage. New York's been slugging it out with their arch rival, had a great series. Yeah. They're coming in feeling great, and the Jays have been sitting around for a week.
Well, a big thing is game 2 is Sunday, and game 5 is Friday. So whoever starts game 2 would be on regular rest for game 1, which is important. So if the Jays go, say, Gosman and Bieber, they could piggyback that in game 5.
Yes.
And it looks like probably Max Fried's going to start game 2 for the Yankees, just because that'll be regular rest for him. So that could definitely play into it.
All right. Tigers, Mariners.
Now I got to go with the Mariners. Sorry, Frisco. I think the Mariners are the best team in the American League. I don't think the American League has an elite team, to be honest with you. But you got the pitching, you got the big dumper in Cal Raleigh. Josh Naylor, fellow Canadian down the road in Mississauga.
Yes.
I think the Mariners are the best team on paper in the American League.
I do. They scare me a little bit. I agree. And what you said about game 1 and our game 2 and game 5 is true. If we can pitch Scooble in 2 and 5, that might be a difference maker. But yeah, that Seattle team, and they just were on fire in the fall. They in September, they just destroyed everybody. So we'll see what happens, Matt. We'll see.
All right. To the National League, Cubs and Brewers.
I think the Brewers. I'm not huge on the Brewers to win the National League, but I think they're better than the Cubs. So I'll go the Brewers in 4.
Anything done? No?
No.
I didn't know if you wanted to
Well, what I love about that, we're really getting, I'm sure everyone's turned this podcast off by now because these guys are talking too much. They're talking too much inside baseball, as the cliche goes. But that whole dynamic of the manager of the Cubs council who used to manage the Brewers left under some, and fans are pretty upset, but what did he leave for $50 million, I think it was, to go manage the Cubs?
Wow.
I mean,
yeah. Now you're wondering, is it the manager? Because Pat Murphy took over and kind of maintained the same culture. He's won the division 2 years in a row.
Yeah, and they rocked it this year too. They were wild. So now council's going back into Milwaukee as kind of they're going to boo his brains out when he's there, and extra pressures on there. So I think, it's going to be interesting.
Quickly to the last series, Dodgers and Phillies.
I'm going to take the Phillies. I've been high on the Phillies for a few years now, and they've kind of let it down, but I think the Phillies are going to take it. They have to break out eventually, and I've kind of had them on the top of my list for a few years.
I don't disagree with that. And when I look at the National League bracket, and you see like the Phillies, the Dodgers, and the Brewers, they just feel like they're already so much better than the teams over in the America. That's my thought on it anyway. I don't know if someone from there should win the World Series.
Does Ohtani weigh into this?
I mean, he's out of this world. It's just
he's starting game 1. Did I read that?
He's starting game 1. Babe Ruth's back from the dead.
Crazy.
I know. Before we go, Matt, do you want to give you a chance to tell our listeners and viewers about your podcast?
Yeah, the Canadian Baseball Network podcast and the CanadianBaseballNetwork.com covers Canadian baseball, obviously, given the name, from the grassroots right to the pros, the Blue Jays, all the way down to your local high school teams, and just trying to shine a light. Because when I was younger, it was the coolest thing ever to get interviewed, right, and have a story written about you. So to kind of bring that to players across the country, and then also talk about the Jays like we are right now, that's pretty cool. So. It's a lot of fun, and I think it's some pretty good content, so check it out.
All right, good stuff. Make sure you subscribe. And, Matt, that's available on Apple, Spotify, and, of course, YouTube as well, correct?
Yep.
All right, good stuff. From Cambridge today, there's Matt Betts, host of the Canadian Baseball Network podcast. Matt, thanks for this. Have a great weekend holding down the couch.
Yeah, that's what I'll be doing. I'm sure you guys will be the same. So.
You betcha. Take care. All right, in all fairness, we know that it's a busy time for Jamie and the rest of the not only TV, but the radio broadcast crew. It's a big deal, the ALDS, especially when you're hosting games 1 and 2 and their plates are full. So we get it.
Absolutely. We're just joking around. We understand things happen. They're always welcome to come on. If they find a time, they can reach out and jump on the call. Maybe we'll bring Matt Betts in for the call too.
Love that.
Yep.
Love that.
I wish you luck, Scott. I know you're a Jays fan.
Yeah.
I'm not really wishing you luck.
I think you and I are going to be texting like crazy.
Don't text me this weekend.
I told you never to call me here. So you've got the late game.
Yes.
At 8:38, and we're at 4:08.
Which is I'm surprised by that because the Yankees usually get prime, but because of the Mariners are on the West Coast,
right?
They got to start. That'll be 5:30 local time.
Time shift, yeah, they got to.
But usually the Yankees, you'd think would get the 8 o'clock time slot, but not the way we. The weird thing is, people have turned this show off by now for sure. But if you don't like baseball, you've turned this episode off. But the National League, they're going to play one night and then get a night off right away. They're not playing 2 games in a row.
That's unusual.
They always give the American League the better schedule. I don't know.
All right. In any event, 4:08 and 8:38, first pitches respectively tomorrow night. Both games, by the way, on Sportsnet. Okay, for Derek Turner, executive producer who has been very patient and indulgent as we sit here and talk baseball for the last half an hour, and for Michael Friscolanti, our editor-in-chief, I'm Scott Sexsmith. Have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday at 7 right here on Closer Look.
Frisco and Scott's Wardrobe provided in part by Moores, Sault Ste. Marie.